For generations, it was a no-brainer. A college degree was your golden ticket to a good, stable, middle-class life. But in the economy we're living in today, is that still true? Let's get into it, because the answer has gotten, well, really complicated.
The thing is, it's not one big, wide-open highway to success anymore. It's more like that highway is splitting off into a bunch of different roads. And yeah, some of those roads lead to incredible opportunities, better than ever before. But others, they're basically a dead end.
And then, bam, the pandemic hit the fast-forward button on everything. It wasn't just a disruption. It literally sped up deep trends in the job market by 5 to 7 years. The entire rule book for new college grads got rewritten, almost overnight.
So all this rapid change created something researchers are calling the Great Divergence. The basic idea? A college degree doesn't mean the same thing for everyone anymore. Not even close. It's splitting into two totally different realities.
And what's driving this? A wild phenomenon called the Great Reversal. Think about it. As AI and automation take over the more routine thinking jobs, some degrees, even traditionally safe ones like business, are actually losing value. Suddenly, what you choose to study is a huge deal. It decides which side of this new divide you're going to land on.
And this chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's so stark. After the pandemic, STEM and tech jobs, they snapped right back, almost a full recovery. But just look at hospitality. Stuck way down with a huge, stubborn 18% employment gap. We're not talking about a little blip here. For a lot of people, this is permanent economic damage.
And get this, there's a whole new layer of inequality. If your degree lands you a job you can do from home, you are now making, on average, $8,200 more per year. Just the ability to work remotely has become a massive, measurable economic advantage.
Okay, so this isn't just about broad economic trends. It gets personal. What happens if you start out on the wrong side of the split? Well, that first bad job, it isn't something you just shake off anymore. It leaves a mark, a career scar, as they call it.
And just listen to how the researchers talk about this. They make it super clear. This is not a temporary mismatch. It's not like you just get a better job next year and everything's fine. No. Starting out underemployed creates these disadvantages that can literally follow you for years, impacting how much you earn and the opportunities you get for the rest of your career.
So how big is this risk, really? Well, let's do a little data blitz here. First up, your major. If you study philosophy, you're looking at a 30% chance of being underemployed. That means almost 1 out of every 3 grads isn't even working in a job that requires their degree. Wow.
Next up, where you go to school. This is a big one. Go to a for-profit college and you could be making over $15,000 less every single year compared to someone from a private nonprofit school. That is absolutely life-altering money.
And finally, location, location, location. If you're an arts major trying to make it in the Rust Belt, you're facing 3 times the risk of underemployment as your friend who moved to a big creative city. So you see, it's your major, your school, and where you live. They all stack up.
Actually, scratch that. They don't just add up. For some of the most vulnerable students, these risk factors actually multiply. And that's where we get into something really serious. The intersectionality trap.
So what is intersectionality? In simple terms, it's the idea that different parts of who you are, your race, your family's income, your gender, don't just exist separately. They overlap and can create these combined, compounding disadvantages that are way bigger than any one thing on its own.
Okay, just look at these numbers. This is where it gets real. Let's say you're in the best case group, not from a minority background, from a higher income family at a nonprofit school. Your risk of defaulting on your loans is about 33%. Now, look at the worst case. A minority student from a low-income family at a for-profit school. Their risk? It skyrockets to almost 74%. That's not just adding risk, it's multiplying it by more than double. It's a perfect storm.
And the challenges don't just stop there. There are these systemic gaps that persist long after you toss your graduation cap. Graduates from majority Black institutions still earn, on average, $7,400 less than grads from majority white schools. So even when you do everything right, the hurdles are still there.
Okay, so that's a lot, and it can feel pretty hopeless, right? It feels like the game is rigged for so many people, which leads us to the big question. If the game is rigged, how in the world do we change the rules?
Well, the good news is people are working on this. A lot of smart people are exploring real answers, and they're really focused on two main things: the kinds of credentials we earn in the first place and how we pay for them.
First, let's talk about the credentials themselves. The whole idea of a four-year degree is getting a rethink. We're seeing this boom in things like micro-credentials and digital badges that you can stack up. They're flexible, they're often led by community colleges, and they're laser-focused on what the local community actually needs: real jobs in energy, housing, and the care economy. It's about getting people into good jobs faster.
All right, now for the money side of things. And this is probably the single most important insight from all the data. You want to guess the biggest reason people default on their student loans? It's not the total amount of debt they have. It's whether or not they actually finish their degree. Just dropping out is the biggest risk factor. Completion is everything.
And knowing that changes everything. It leads to this pretty radical new idea for student loans, because our current system is kind of nuts, right? It's one size fits all. The future engineer at a top university pays the same flat interest rate as the philosophy major at a for-profit with terrible job outcomes. It's just unfair and inefficient. So the new idea is a hybrid model that's actually smart about risk, but also fair.
So here's how it would work. Step 1, you lower the base interest rate for everybody. Awesome. Step 2, you add a small risk premium for majors that are, statistically a bigger gamble. But, and this is the genius part, Step 3, you then apply a progressive subsidy based on a student's family income. This means a student from a low-income family in a risky major could end up paying less than a wealthy kid in a safe one. It prices in the risk without punishing the people who need the most help.
Which really leaves us with one last massive question. Our economy is changing at lightning speed, creating a need for new skills, but also creating brand new risks. So where does the future of opportunity lie? Is it in totally reinventing our big institutions, like our colleges and loan systems? Or is it really up to each of us as individuals to figure out how to navigate this new world on our own? The truth is, it's probably got to be both.